Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game.
Warriors under pressure to meet Kamingas' demands, and it could impact Gianni's future. The Golden State Warriors are facing a critical decision that could shape both their immediate future and long-term championship hopes. What to do about Jonathan Kaminga? Kaminga has become the unexpected focal point of the Warriors' off-season. He's reportedly unwilling to sign the current 2-year, $45 million deal on the table, and it's not about the money. It's about trust, opportunity, and how he was sidelined at the end of last season. Kaminga believes the organization has held back his development, and now, he holds all the leverage. All he has to do is accept a $7.9 million qualifying offer for next season, play it out, and then hit unrestricted free agency in 2026, completely in control of his future. And the rest of the league is watching. There's real interest in Kaminga, whether through trade or down the line as a free agent. Meanwhile, the Warriors have put a pause on finalizing deals with other free agents until Kaminga's situation is resolved. But the young forward is in no rush, and the tension is reportedly being felt, even in Stephen Curry's corner. NBA reporter Dan Faval believes there's only one way this ends: the Warriors will have to give in. One of these sides is going to blink first. And it'll be Golden State, he wrote. If the Warriors let Kaminga take the qualifying offer, they risk disaster. He would gain veto power over any trade and lose his bird rights, meaning any team trading for him wouldn't be able to offer him a competitive extension. Golden State would risk losing a rising star for absolutely nothing. Faval put it bluntly, expect the Warriors to give in somehow. Unless they're offering something close to $30 million annually, a short-term deal with a team option just doesn't make sense anymore. Kaminga is pushing for a long-term deal, and that's where this story connects with another, Giannis Antetokounmpo. The biggest underlying story of this NBA off-season hasn't just been about trades or signings. It's been the quiet buzz around Gianni's potential free agency in 2027. Teams across the league, the Lakers, Heat, Rockets, and yes, the Warriors, are quietly preparing, keeping flexibility in case the Greek Freak becomes available. The Rockets, for example, are hesitant to commit big money to Kevin Durant. The Lakers are handing out mostly short-term deals. And the Warriors? Their insistence on a 2-year contract for Kaminga seems far from coincidental. It's clear, Golden State doesn't want to commit over $20 million annually to Kaminga if it could limit their chances to land Giannis. But Kaminga might be forcing their hand. Now the Warriors have a tough choice to make. Lock Kaminga into a long-term deal, mend the relationship, and bet on his star potential. Or let him walk and keep the cap space open, essentially buying a lottery ticket for Giannis. But here's the catch: if they lose Kaminga for nothing, they risk weakening their core and becoming a far less appealing destination for Antetokounmpo in 2027. Curry will be 39, Draymond and Jimmy Butler, if he arrives, will be 37. Without young, explosive talent like Kaminga, Golden State's championship window could slam shut. If they want to stay relevant and make a compelling case to Giannis, the Warriors can't afford to let Kaminga slip away. Not like this. The off-season standoff intensifies, and its impact is growing. What started as a quiet negotiation has now become the central storyline of the Golden State Warriors off-season. Jonathan Kaminga's refusal to accept the team's current contract offer isn't just delaying progress, it's reshaping the franchise's plans from top to bottom. Kaminga isn't backing down. Kaminga reportedly declined a 2-year, $45 million extension, not just because of the value, but due to the structure. The inclusion of a second-year team option and the absence of trade protections raised red flags for a player who already feels his role was minimized late last season. His message is clear: he wants commitment. He wants to be part of the Warriors' future, but not if he's going to be treated as a placeholder or trade asset. To complicate matters, Kaminga has other options. Several teams around the league are expressing interest in him through potential sign-and-trade deals, offering longer contracts with more player-friendly terms. He's also floated the idea of signing the $7.9 million qualifying offer, a 1-year deal that would make him an unrestricted free agent in 2026, free to choose his next destination. That would put the Warriors in a difficult position. Not only would they lose control over his future, but they'd also be unable to trade him without his consent, and any team acquiring him would lack the bird rights needed to offer him a significant extension. The Warriors are stuck in limbo. Until Kaminga's situation is resolved, Golden State is holding off on other roster moves. They've been linked to veteran targets who could help the team in the short term, but everything hinges on how much money and roster space will be tied up in Kaminga's next deal. Even Stephen Curry has acknowledged the awkwardness of the off-season. He's made it known that the roster needs more help, but nothing can be finalized while one of the team's most promising young players remains in limbo. The bigger picture, Gsw'S. This isn't just about Kaminga, it's about what the Warriors want to be 2 years from now. There's growing speculation that Giannis Antetokounmpo could hit the trade market or test free agency in 2027. Golden State, like several other contenders, is quietly preparing for that possibility by maintaining cap flexibility and avoiding long-term deals that could block a run at the superstar. That's why they've been so cautious with Kaminga. A long-term, $25 to $30 million per year commitment could make it harder to absorb Giannis's max salary. But at the same time, letting Kaminga walk for nothing would hurt both the team's depth and its trade assets, two things that would be essential in any pursuit of Antetokounmpo. The locker room dynamic. Draymond Green has been candid about the situation. He's praised Kaminga's potential but also noted that not every young player can stay on the roster long-term. With other promising players like Moses Moody, Trace Jackson-Davis, and Brandon Podziemski also developing, decisions have to be made. But letting go of the most athletic and dynamic of the bunch, especially for no return, would be a tough pill to swallow. What happens next? The Warriors have 3 paths forward. Commit long-term, meet Kaminga's demands, give him a real place in the team's core, and invest in his continued development. Trade him, execute a sign and trade to a team willing to pay him, ensuring the Warriors get assets in return. Let it ride, hope he accepts the qualifying offer, keep him 1 more year, and risk losing him for nothing in 2026. Each path has consequences. Giving in could block future flexibility. Trading him might strengthen a rival. Letting him walk could damage the team's reputation with young talent. But if the Warriors are serious about remaining relevant after the Curry era, and if they truly want to be a destination for someone like Giannis, they can't afford to mishandle this situation. The bottom line. Jonathan Kaminga's standoff isn't just a contract dispute. It's a statement about the team's vision, its identity, and how it values its young talent. And the longer this drags on, the more it threatens to define not just this off-season, but the entire direction of the franchise. Golden State is at a crossroads. Build around the future or risk watching it walk away. Stephen Curry says he'll sacrifice something precious to stay with the Warriors, unlike Kevin Durant. Stephen Curry remains one of the NBA's most loyal superstars, and is not afraid to bet on the Golden State Warriors' championship potential, even as critics grow louder. Recently, Curry voiced optimism about the upcoming season, pointing to the expected full-season impact of Jimmy Butler as a game-changer. Given Butler's role in pushing the Warriors to last season's Western Conference semifinals, it's a fair argument. With improved chemistry and a healthier roster, the Warriors believe they can still make a serious run. But not everyone is convinced. Former ESPN analyst David Jacoby cast doubt on Golden State's chances, suggesting that Curry may have already won his last ring back in 2022. In Jacoby's view, Curry's unwavering loyalty to the Warriors could come at a steep cost, unlike Kevin Durant, who continues to chase titles, even if it means changing teams. I love guys who stay with one franchise their whole career, and I think Steph is one of those rare players, Jacoby said. But I also think he's sacrificing another shot at a championship just to finish his journey in a Warriors jersey. Jacoby contrasted this with Kevin Durant's recent move to the Houston Rockets, a rising team with a talented young core. Durant just joined a second-seeded team that's clearly on the upswing. He's not staying put, he's making moves to win, Jacoby noted. And the Rockets have indeed shown signs of becoming a serious threat. Last season, they pushed the Warriors to a nail-biting Game 7, despite being one of the youngest teams in the league. With another year of growth and Durant now in the mix, a playoff rematch could play out very differently. Durant, who left the Warriors in 2019 with 2 titles and 2 Finals MVPs, hasn't made it back to the finals since. His move to Houston signals a bold new attempt to change that, and the Rockets' depth and energy may be just what he needs. Meanwhile, Golden State faces tough roster questions heading into the new season. They'll need to resolve Jonathan Kaminga's contract situation and bring in experienced role players to support their aging core. If they can pull it off, a playoff showdown between Durant's Rockets and Curry's Warriors could be one of the NBA's most compelling storylines, loyalty versus legacy, and 2 future Hall of Famers with something to prove. The conversation around Curry's loyalty versus Durant's ambition has sparked intense debate across the NBA community. Sports analysts, fans, and even former players are weighing in, and opinions are sharply divided. Some view Curry's decision to stick with the Warriors as a testament to character in an era where superstars frequently jump ship in pursuit of quick rings. To them, Steph represents something rare, a player who values legacy, community, and identity just as much as silverware. Others, however, echo Jacoby's sentiment. That sentimentality has a cost, and in a league growing younger, faster, and more competitive by the year, Golden State may already be past its prime. Klay Thompson's departure still looms large. The Warriors are still reeling from the departure of Klay Thompson, who left in free agency earlier this offseason. His absence not only leaves a void in the backcourt but also fractures the emotional core of the dynasty. Curry now carries the dual burden of leading on the court and maintaining the team's spirit off it. "I think Steph is trying to do something noble, but at what price?" asked former NBA coach George Karl on his podcast. The league doesn't wait for anyone. Not even legends. The front office feels the pressure. Internally, Golden State's front office is under increasing pressure to make aggressive moves. Bob Myers' departure as general manager left a leadership gap that's still being felt. Mike Dunleavy Jr., now in charge of basketball operations, is tasked with navigating contract negotiations, particularly with rising star Jonathan Kaminga, and deciding whether to go all in with the current core or pivot to a partial rebuild. "There's only a small window left," an anonymous league executive told The Athletic. "If they don't make strategic moves now, they risk wasting the final prime years of Steph's career." Meanwhile, Houston is building a monster. The Rockets, on the other hand, are surging. With Ime Udoka at the helm and a roster stacked with ascending talent, including Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, and Jabari Smith Jr., the addition of Durant gives them a lethal mix of experience and youth. Houston's front office has gone all in, sensing the opportunity to fast-track their championship window. Sources close to the organization say Durant's leadership is already transforming the locker room culture, and is reportedly more motivated than ever to silence critics who've questioned his move since leaving Golden State. Fans are divided. Social media has been ablaze with hot takes. On X, formerly Twitter, hashtags like #LoyaltyOverLegacy and #KD chasing rings are trending, with passionate arguments on both sides. Some fans praise Curry for doing it the right way, while others argue that Durant's approach is more pragmatic, and perhaps even more admirable in today's hyper-competitive league. The road ahead, collision course? With the 2025-26 NBA season approaching, the potential playoff collision between these two titans feels inevitable. Steph Curry, the face of one franchise for life, trying to squeeze one last ring out of a fading dynasty. Kevin Durant, the wandering warrior, still hunting glory with a new generation of talent at his side. If that series happens, Warriors versus Rockets, it won't just be about basketball. It'll be about philosophy, loyalty, and the price of greatness. And no matter who wins, the narrative around these two all-time greats will never be the same. Jeff Teague explains why the Warriors dynasty wouldn't exist without Kevin Durant. Former NBA champion Jeff Teague isn't afraid to tell it like it is, and when it comes to the Golden State Warriors dynasty, he gives credit where he believes it's truly due, Kevin Durant. On a recent episode of his Club 520 podcast, Teague made a bold claim, one that's been circulating in NBA circles for years, but rarely stated this directly. Without Kevin Durant, the Warriors may have never become a true dynasty. Let's not forget, the Warriors have been the dominant force of the last decade. Between 2014 and 2022, they racked up 4 championships and 6 trips to the NBA Finals, redefining modern basketball along the way. Many fans even put the 2010s Warriors in the same breath as the legendary 90s Bulls, and with good reason. But as Teague sees it, while Golden State was great in 2015 and 2016, it was Durant's arrival that made them unstoppable. They were a good team, no doubt, Teague said. But they became a dynasty when KD got there. That's when it got real. Why KD changed everything. Teague pointed to the 2016 Finals as a turning point. The Cleveland Cavaliers, led by LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the 73-9 Warriors, a team that had just posted the best regular season record in NBA history. The Cavs were the better team that year. Period, Teague insisted. Steph and Klay were great shooters, but Bron and Kyrie were killers. Without KD, the Warriors don't beat that Cavs team. Durant's presence shifted the balance of power entirely. With him, Golden State had 2 MVPs on the floor, a defensive anchor in Draymond Green, one of the best two-way shooters ever in Klay Thompson, and elite role players like Andre Iguodala and Shaun Livingston. You're talking about the best shooter ever, Steph, maybe the second best shooter ever, Klay, a top 10 all-time defender, Draymond, and then KD, one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen, Teague said. That team wasn't fair. It was insane. And he's not wrong. The Warriors went 16-1 in the 2017 playoffs and repeated as champions in 2018, making it look easy. Steph and Klay weren't supposed to be that. Perhaps the most eye-opening part of Teague's take was his view of how Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were perceived before Durant joined. LeBron and Kyrie were no. 1 picks, they were supposed to be great. Steph and Klay? Nobody saw that coming. They weren't supposed to be this good. KD was the piece that pushed them over the edge. What's happened since? In hindsight, Teague's point carries weight. Durant won 2 championships and 2 finals MVPs during his 3-year stint in the Bay. But since his departure in 2019, neither he nor the Warriors have been able to fully recapture that magic. Golden State did win another title in 2022, but it came as a surprise to many, and they've since struggled to maintain that level. With an aging core and roster uncertainty, questions loom over whether that was their last hurrah. Durant, meanwhile, has bounced from Brooklyn to Phoenix, and now to Houston, still chasing that elusive title without the Warriors. Injuries, roster instability, and playoff exits have kept him from reaching the finals again. Now, as he begins a new chapter with the Houston Rockets, a young, talented team on the rise, KD is hoping to rewrite the narrative. He wants to show the world that he can lead a team to a title on his terms, in his way, and without the Golden State safety net. The legacy debate continues. Jeff Teague's comments add fuel to a long-running debate. Who really made the Warriors dynasty what it was? Was it Steph's leadership and shooting brilliance? Klay and Draymond's two-way dominance? Or was it Durant's once-in-a-generation talent that truly put them over the top? One thing's for sure, the story of the Warriors can't be told without Kevin Durant. And as the 2025-26 season approaches, all eyes will be on both KD and the Warriors to see what legacy they'll each write next, together or apart. A narrative that still divides the NBA. Teague's remarks have reignited a polarizing conversation among players, analysts, and fans, a conversation that speaks not just to championships, but to how they're won, and what we truly value in defining greatness. To some, Kevin Durant's move to the Warriors in 2016 was a shortcut, a superstar joining an already elite team. But to others, including Teague, it was the missing piece that transformed a great squad into a legendary one. Look, they were historic without him, said ESPN analyst Kendrick Perkins in response to Teague's comments. But KD made them unbeatable. It was a wrap once he got there. Former players like Richard Jefferson have also chimed in, backing the notion that without Durant, LeBron and the Cavs likely run the East-West rivalry for longer. We don't talk enough about how the 2017 and 2018 Cavs were still elite, Jefferson said. It just didn't matter, because KD flipped the balance. The LeBron versus Warriors legacy debate. Durant's stint with Golden State also directly impacted LeBron James' legacy. After delivering Cleveland's first title in 2016, LeBron ran into a KD-led Warriors juggernaut 2 years in a row. Despite heroic performances, James simply couldn't overcome a team that stacked that much firepower. This has become a key point of friction in GOAT debates, with Durant's move often seen as the factor that prevented LeBron from adding to his championship count during his prime years. Durant's legacy, still under construction. Fast forward to today, and Durant knows what's at stake. While his time in Golden State brought him accolades and validation, his post-Warriors years have been full of turbulence, injuries, roster drama, and playoff exits. His failed superteam experiment in Brooklyn alongside Kyrie Irving and James Harden imploded before it ever reached the finals. In Phoenix, despite forming a big three with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, chemistry and injuries derailed their campaign. Now, as he joins a promising Houston Rockets team filled with young talent and ambition, Durant has a rare opportunity to reshape his narrative and prove he can win as the guy, without the safety net of a dynasty behind him. This might be KD's last real shot to lead a team to a title, said NBA reporter Shams Charania. And if he does, it changes everything. It rewrites the book. The Warriors' present and future. Meanwhile, the Warriors are walking a tightrope. Steph Curry remains elite, but the clock is ticking. Klay Thompson is gone. Draymond Green, though still impactful, is aging. Jonathan Kaminga and Moses Moody show promise, but they're unproven on the biggest stage. Golden State's front office is at a crossroads, trying to honor the past while building for the future. Can they give Steph one more real shot at a title? Or will his loyalty become the bittersweet symbol of a dynasty that held on too long? A potential reunion? Not likely, but not impossible. In the midst of all this, some fans still fantasize about a reunion between Durant and the Warriors. Could KD return to the Bay to finish what they started? Sources say it's unlikely, but in the NBA, bridges burn and rebuild faster than anyone expects. For now, the more likely scenario is this: Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets crossing paths with Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs. The stakes? Legacy, vindication, and a new chapter in a rivalry that helped define a generation. The bottom line. Jeff Teague's comments weren't just a hot take, they were a reminder. A reminder that dynasties aren't built on talent alone. They're built on timing, sacrifice, and sometimes, on the decisions that change everything. Durant changed everything. And now, both he and the Warriors are trying to prove they can do it again, just not together. Stephen Curry is pushing for key teammates' return as he urges Warriors to make off-season moves. Stephen Curry isn't just thinking about next season, he's focused on legacy. With one goal in mind, winning his 5th NBA championship, Curry is urging the Golden State Warriors to make meaningful roster changes. And at the top of his wish list? Bringing back a trusted championship teammate. As the Warriors remain the only NBA team yet to sign or re-sign a player this offseason, tensions are quietly rising. Currently locked in a contract standoff with Jonathan Kaminga, the team has just 9 players officially on the roster. But Curry is making it clear, standing still isn't an option. According to NBA insider Brandon "Scoop B" Robinson, Curry is actively lobbying the front office to re-sign Gary Payton II, a key piece of their 2022 title run. Steph's voice carries real weight in Golden State, Robinson wrote. I've been told he's in direct contact with Gary Payton II, pushing the Warriors to lock him in on a 2-year deal. Payton, known for his relentless defense, echoing that of his Hall of Fame father Gary Payton, has played a vital role in supporting the Warriors' backcourt. His grit and defensive intensity have helped mask Curry's own defensive limitations. Last season, Payton averaged 6.5 points per game, his best defensive output since the Warriors' championship season, where he averaged 7 points and 1.6 steals per game during the finals. Yet despite Curry's urgency, Payton is stuck in limbo, one of several players interested in signing with Golden State but left waiting as the team continues its drawn-out negotiations with Kaminga. Curry growing impatient amid Kaminga's stalemate. Behind the scenes, frustration is mounting. Curry recently spoke during his basketball camp, emphasizing that the team needs a few pieces to help us get to that next level, and made it clear he expected moves to be made before training camp starts. The hold-up? Kaminga's unresolved contract. The Warriors have reportedly offered him a 2-year, $45 million deal, while Kaminga is weighing the option of signing a $7.9 million qualifying offer for 1 year, giving him the chance to become an unrestricted free agent next summer. With no urgency on his part, this stalemate could drag into October. That delay is freezing the Warriors' off-season plans. Veterans like Al Horford, among others, are left waiting for official offers. While Horford is said to be understanding for now, NBA reporter Anthony Slater warns that things could get uncomfortable if there's no resolution by September. And with Curry now speaking up publicly and privately, first calling for upgrades, then actively pushing for Payton's return, the pressure is intensifying in San Francisco. If the Warriors can't break the deadlock and reshape the roster soon, they risk wasting another year of Curry's prime, and that's something the franchise can't afford. Tension mounts as Warriors' off-season stalls. As Stephen Curry continues to advocate for the return of Gary Payton II, the Golden State Warriors remain paralyzed, unable to make key moves until the situation with Jonathan Kaminga is resolved. What should have been an off-season of calculated reinforcements has instead turned into a waiting game. Kaminga's contract standoff, a team on hold. At the center of it all is Kaminga's unresolved contract. The Warriors reportedly offered a 2-year deal worth $45 million, but Kaminga has not accepted, signaling he may prefer to sign a 1-year qualifying offer and test unrestricted free agency next summer. This leaves the franchise in limbo, unable to make additional roster moves until his decision is finalized. Kaminga's hesitation isn't just a financial decision, it's a strategic one. By holding out, he retains long-term control over his career, but at the cost of team stability. Until there's clarity, other signings, including veteran free agents, are essentially on pause. Free agents waiting, chemistry delayed. Several veterans, including Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton, have been linked to Golden State. These players could add experience and depth, but their signings are being delayed due to the cap space uncertainty caused by the Kaminga holdup. With training camp just weeks away, the clock is ticking. There's also growing concern that Curry's influence may not be enough to fast-track the return of Gary Payton II. Though Curry has been in direct contact with his former teammate and is pushing for a 2-year reunion deal, the front office appears cautious, perhaps waiting to see how much flexibility they'll have after Kaminga's situation is resolved. Strategic implications and roster impact. Golden State's salary cap situation is delicate. Depending on Kaminga's eventual contract, the team could be forced above the NBA's second luxury tax apron, which imposes severe roster-building restrictions. This puts even more pressure on every decision. They must balance talent retention with financial sustainability. Meanwhile, the front office's silence is raising eyebrows. The Warriors are the only team in the league that hasn't made a single signing or re-signing this offseason. This lack of movement has led to increasing criticism from analysts and fans, who fear the organization may be squandering what remains of the Curry era. Curry's subtle frustration turning public. Stephen Curry is known for staying composed publicly, but even he is starting to show signs of frustration. In a recent basketball camp appearance, he made it clear the team needs pieces to help us get to the next level, and added that he hoped those moves would already be in place before training camp begins. The message was subtle, but unmistakable. Curry wants action, and soon. What's next? Several possible paths remain. If Kaminga accepts the Warriors' offer, the team gains clarity and can begin signing or trading for additional players. If he signs the qualifying offer, he becomes an unrestricted free agent next year, but the Warriors could then use the freed-up cap room to bring back Payton II or target other veteran depth. If neither scenario resolves quickly, the Warriors risk entering the season with an incomplete roster and growing internal tension. The reality is clear: Golden State is at a crossroads. Curry is all in on chasing another championship, but time isn't on his side. Without swift resolution and decisive moves, the Warriors may face a season of uncertainty, and the pressure will only continue to build.